Save the Semantics, episode 197. It is January 15, 2023. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on for a bit about some shit. It's been a little while, I think, since I last recorded. I actually haven't checked the date of my, when I last recorded. I mean, I could literally just play the first few seconds of it and then get the date, but I haven't really looked back, so it feels like it's been a little while, so we'll go with that. This weekend, I'll guess I'll just say, I've been feeling kind of weird this past weekend. Like, I've just been kind of feeling like shit. I'm not gonna lie. I've just sort of had this like weird like headache going on for like the past like few days or a couple of days. I don't know what the heck that's about. I feel like I've been getting decent sleep, like in terms of I've been getting enough hours, but maybe my quality of sleep's been kind of crappy. I don't know. And then also this past week has been kind of, it's been a lot of like I would say downs. Really, I was gonna say ups and downs, but it's been a lot of downs just because like it's been stormy. It's still raining right now, but yeah, just a lot of shit has just been kind of thrown at the fan, and I feel like and myself have been pretty lucky in terms of like being affected by the weather and the storms and everything like that. Like, I know people that have pretty much like lost their homes in the flooding, which is very it's awful, and it's really just an incredibly difficult and shitty situation. So of course I'm taking that into account, and sort of my own position and whatnot. So yeah, I've been pretty lucky in terms of like how things have been going and stuff. So, because I know right now it's probably a pretty difficult time for a lot of people that are, that have gone through the same thing, that are in my area, that are pretty much kind of neighbors, honestly. So, hopefully hopefully if they, own their homes, they have insurance and all that shit. It's just kind of a similar, probably not as devastating. Well, actually, that I can't really speak on that, but similar kind of situation to how things were a couple of years back with the fires and everything like that. Just in terms of kind of environmental disasters, really. So I think, as a community, as people within kind of this area, I think that we'll be able to get past it. But it's been rough for sure, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think the best thing to do is just to support one another in the best way possible, whether it's, financially or whatever that may be, emotionally, kind of be present and whatnot. So yeah, it is shitty for sure, but I don't know how much that really has to do in terms of my own well-being, but I've definitely have been kind of I've been kind of off a little bit. Like, I've just been super lethargic. Like, today I woke up and I was not in the mood. I was in the mood to do nothing. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, I'm not doing shit today. That was kind of my headspace, even though I had some plans. Like, I'm right now, I'm out and about. I'm recording this in my car. If you can't hear, it's raining. It's just like raining all over. I didn't really feel like moving my car somewhere else, but I just was not in the mood to do anything this morning. So I'm glad that I was sort of able to kind of push through and just, I don't know, because I have some errands to run today, and I want to get those done if I'm able to before this upcoming week. But yeah, it's just just these last couple of days I've been trying to like I've been trying to relax like I usually do on a weekend, but I've just felt so tired. I don't know like why. Maybe I don't know, like something up with my sleep. I try to go at like a decent time. I know that I've been kind of pushing it, like, past 12 and whatnot. It's the sleep, man. If all else, like, if you don't know what the problem is, it's probably your fucking sleep. You know what I mean? I mean, there's also the fact that there are things that are affecting your sleep. Like, I understand that. So that might be it. Maybe I'm just like feeling stressed for reasons, and then that's affecting my sleep. But I don't know. I've just it's just been it's been kind of frustrating for sure. But I don't know. I think it's just sort of a temporary thing. But yeah, it always comes back to my sleep, man. It's frustratingly like routine, I would say. Like how often that can have an effect on like my day-to-day weekly sort of well-being, I guess. Anyways, um this past week, I wouldn't say, pretty standard, not a whole lot going on. Work's been kind of slowly starting to ramp up. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. But in terms of other things, uh I would say not a whole lot. I've just sort of been I've just been doing my usual. I've tried to like it's been hard, man. I'm not a huge fan of I know we need the rain. I know whatever all that shit. I prefer to exercise. I don't like to run. I don't like to run in the rain. I already went through all that in high school and I hated it. It was a miserable experience. So I would much rather exercise during when it's kind of, when it's light out, when it's clear. So I haven't really had too much of a chance to exercise as consistently as I've wanted to, but I've just sort of I'm just kind of waiting. I think this next week is looking things are going to clear up, so I can kind of get back into kind of a routine of some sorts. You know what I mean? I try to do at least like 3 days a week. It's not much, but I think it's decent for me. If I'm not, again, I talked about the whole gym thing, but if I don't have like a gym membership, if I'm just kind of exercising on my own accord, then I try to go for 3 days a week of running or whatever that may be. At least go for a walk, right? I think that's decent. Probably not the greatest thing ever, but I gotta stay somewhat limber, not have a fucked up back, in like 5 years or whatever. Another thing, I think, I'm really thinking about maybe getting like a lumbar support chair, because right now I've been using this like kind of standard office chair for the last couple of years since I've started working. And I think it's starting to really, I think it's time. I think it's time to finally buy one of those things. When I'm going to do it, I don't know, maybe soon, but I think it's, yeah, I think just consider, I really, it's a lot of sitting, you know what I mean? I'm sitting a lot during the day, and much more than I ever used to. So that's gonna definitely have an effect, man. On just like my general physical health and whatnot. So, I just got to think about that. Like, I just got to think about the future and things down the line, and like how much of an effect that shit might have. So, I think I should maybe get like a nice little support chair for my back or whatever before it gets all fucked up. Which is kind of embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing to get like back problems while working like a non-manual job. Like, it's a little kind of, it's just like, yeah, I got a fucked up back problem. It's like, what'd you do? Were you working like construction? It's like, nah, I've just been sitting here for the last like 15 years. I've been sitting the same way. I've been slouching at my desk. So yeah, I think it would be good to get a little extra support in that regard. So that's on kind of my bucket list of things to buy. Another errand to run later down the line. But yeah, Uh, I've been sort of like, I'm probably gonna play it later today. I've been sort of off on Final Fantasy. This past week I haven't really touched it too much. I don't know if I talked. Did I talk about this last time? I've reached like the halfway point of the game. Um, if I haven't mentioned, I think it's like the halfway point. I'm not sure. Um, it's essentially the point where it's like going into like the disc two of the game. So I'm assuming it's the halfway point. I'm pretty sure that the original PS1 game had two discs. I would need to confirm that, but that sounds about right. Um, so yeah, halfway through, I've been enjoying it for sure. Um, I think that I think I maybe want to. I'm not like. I feel like the combat is pretty straightforward for the most part. Um, I do like. I already have like the characters I like and know that that are kind of the strongest in the cast that I like to use and stuff. So, in terms of like um, customization or whatnot, you have a pretty good amount, I would say. But when if their characters like base stats are already pretty high, then you're gonna use them. You know what I mean? So, um, that's kind of like what I've been going with. Uh, I would say I think one of the things that is a little, I guess, somewhat detrimental. I mean, it makes sense in the context of the game and how you play it. Like the players that you play as are gonna gain the experience, while the players that are kind of on your bench don't. Um, but it would just be nice. Wishful thinking. I know it's an older game for sure, but I wish that the characters got received like the same kind of um, same experience in like battle, because like some of the characters that I haven't used at all are like 5 levels lower uh, than the main ones I use, which is a pretty big difference. I think it's the privilege of like playing Persona 5 first, where you have all of these like nice kind of quality of life things, and then going like 20 years before and playing a game that's it's gonna be what, like 25 years pretty much, like into like the um next year pretty much, right? So that's kind of understandable, but I think that I touched upon this last time, but I think the quality of life touches that the Switch version has, which is like speeding up the movement and then also turning off random battles, massive. It's huge. It's a complete kind of overhaul of the experience. Like I don't know how much, like I said, I don't know how much patience I really have for like turn-based combat if it isn't like you know choppy and quick and you can kind of get through it. But if I'm just walking around, like I don't really, you know again, I'm playing the game for the story mostly and not necessarily for the combat. Like the combat, I know what to expect, but yeah, I think those two things have definitely made the game experience a lot better in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, if I ever do want to revisit some of the other Final Fantasy games, especially like I know Final Fantasy 8 is sort of kind of the odd one out. Maybe I want to play it. I also want to play 10. A lot of the older 3D Final Fantasies have kind of this issue with like the pacing. I think Final Fantasy 9 has, I love Final Fantasy 9. That's probably my favorite in the series. But I think it might be a little hard to go back to just because of like the speed of things. So if we're able to speed things up in combat in terms of like movement and whatnot, I think that would be pretty cool, because I do want to play it again sometime. I don't know when that's gonna ever happen because of my continuously growing backlog of games. But I do want to revisit Final Fantasy 9 sometime, because I have a lot of fond memories of playing through that game. I recently decided to finally watch, because this has been kind of on my list for the longest time, but uh, I watched The Nice Guys for the first time, and it was awesome. It was great. It was so much fun. It's been a while since I've watched like a comedy, kind of like action movie, and that was just like it was perfect. It was so good. I mean, not perfect, but it was, it was great. I think that just like I don't know, I enjoy, comedy cop duos, even though they're not cops, they're like private investigators, but I just love kind of like the dual aspect of it. I felt the writing was just really just quick and snappy, and it was one of the funnier movies that I've seen in a long time. It was just very well done. I found myself laughing at like most of the jokes that were in it. And it was good. It was really great. I just thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I don't know how much more there is to really say about it, but it's just a very well-made, enjoyable flick, and I can't believe it's been this long since I've like really, decided to watch it. I think I don't know. I think I was watching Red Letter Media. They had a recent video out. They were kind of doing a wrap up of movies that they watched in 2022, and kind of sort of like a compilation style video, where they're they were talking about several movies that they watched, and there was a point that Jay mentioned that kind of his sort of approach to things that kind of resonated with me a little bit, where he was talking about just being more of a movie watcher instead of a show watcher. And I'm kind of like I'm feeling that sort of way when it comes to approaching movies and shows, because I've really been kind of I've talked about this so many times, but I've really been in this limbo where I've struggled to watch shows because of the expectation and the commitment to one series, where each episode is like a fucking hour. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. When instead I could be watching a lot of movies, good, bad, or in between, that can be pretty lengthy for sure, but 2 hours or an hour and a half, or if it's like a stand-up, if it's just like a stand-up hour, it's an hour long. So it's like I feel like if I want to watch stuff, I think that's probably one of the better ways to approach these things, taking on singular items, kind of in the same way that I've been doing with games, where I can just watch a one-off movie that's not connected to really anything else, or even if it is connected to something that's, I don't know, if it's a trilogy or some shit, then that's at tops it'll be like, I don't know, 6-7 hours, while an entire show could be fucking 100 hours of content, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I mean, I do if I extend it, and then I just like spend that time only watching the show for like a year. But I'm like, fuck, that's so much time. Think about, okay, let's just say, like right now, it's a weekend, it's a Sunday. I got like what? How long am I awake for? Today I woke up around like 10. And then I'm gonna freaking, I don't know, go to bed at like 12 tonight. So it's like 12 hours, at least 12 hours, maybe. That's, if you want to spend all day watching television, 12 hours of television, you could technically get through like one season of a show. If I committed to it, I could finish Ozark today, which I've been just sitting on for however long it's been. I really could do that. But it's hard to really sit and just commit yourself to that. For me, at least. I'm speaking for myself, but it's a difficult task. It's a difficult task. So I think it might be better if I really want to, kind of get out of this weird funk. It's not even a funk. Like, who cares if I'm not watching TV or movies or whatever, you know what I mean? But part of me does want to, I went through kind of, I think this was in, I don't know, high school. High school, actually, that's not true. I had probably had the same amount of free time in high school as I do now, because I didn't, high school I had a lot of shit on my plate, but I still committed to watching movies and other things. So I think it would be fun to just kind of, I don't know, try to watch a movie a week or some shit like that, because then, I don't know, it gives me something to look forward to, gives me something to talk about, for that matter. So I think that might be a good approach. I don't know, but we'll see. If it's just like a fucking hour, it's like an hour and a half. I think it's just, I've gotten used to kind of my routine of what I'm doing, where I generally just watch Twitch or YouTube, which there is nothing wrong with that. But I also haven't really sought out new material or new content, and I think that's kind of been lacking, because there's a lot of good shit out there. You know what I mean? As much shit that we give Netflix in regards to their original content and kind of the mediocrity of their services, there's still good stuff on there. There's still classics on there. I still haven't seen the Godfather movies. I still haven't seen haven't seen any of like the freaking Scorsese films. Like, there's just so many that I haven't even touched. So I just try to have to make it kind of like a thing to look forward to, or I don't even have to, like, it doesn't even have to be a specific movie or anything. I could just be like, I'm gonna watch something today or this week, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal, but I think it would just be good to kind of, like, I don't know, freshen up my usual content, if that makes any sense. Because as much as I love YouTube, or, watching YouTube, creators, or, just kind of chilling out on Twitch or whatever, I think it's worthwhile to kind of try out some other stuff. Because there's a ton of movies that I haven't seen that I would like to watch, but it's just the flow of things. It's just kind of where my head's at. So I think it's just kind of breaking out of that cycle in that sense. Again, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to find a way to kind of, like, add new things to sort of my weekly kind of routine. Especially right now when it's raining and there isn't a whole lot to do. I can't really. I mean, I'm out and about right now because I got things to do. But in other terms, it's just like, I'm not really. I'm not. It's hard. Just find new shit to do. That's really it. And so, if movies are like another thing that I could do, kind of again, right, sort of bringing that back into my life in that sense, I think it'd be good. And I also have to not be hard on myself when I can't, I don't know, when I can't always do those things. So, I think just, like, finally sitting down and watching a movie that I've wanted to watch for a long time is sort of kind of like, and then also kind of, hearing thoughts from other people online is sort of giving me a bit of a, I guess, maybe a spark of an idea. Even if it's just it's just, watch a movie a week. It's just, I don't know. It's something to add. But, yeah, that's kind of where my headspace is at. I'm a little delirious because I've been sleeping like crap, and then I've also felt like crap this weekend. So, once again, just another episode of rambling, but it's something that again, it's just another thing that I want to add to kind of my list of things that I potentially want to do, because it could be fun. I think it'd be fun to break things up. If I'm not feeling particularly inspired from whatever that I'm watching, and I'm just sort of like kind of going through the motions, I think it'd be good to break it up once in a while and add some things. That's really it. Anyways, I hope that whoever's listening is staying safe and they are taking care of themselves. And that's going to do for today's episode. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.